show you the card that came up for this morning. I will read, you don't need to read what's on it. Maybe just having a look at the picture if you choose to. It's not essential. I have decided to make this class a bit about self-care. So, Rucha, can you mute yourself again? So that you can all hear me clearly. Wonderful. So the card that came up today is very matching towards my intention of a bit of self-care and nourishment. It says, the root cause of all disease is a negative attitude about taking care of yourself. Well, we shall not take any of these words very personal, but from my humble point of view, we all have a good lack of self-care. On the back it says, how do you define taking care of yourself? Create a new self-care practice today. Observe your comfort level when it comes to being good to yourself. Discomfort is a wise teacher. And I would love to take this idea not just about the general self-care or the lack of it, but into the practice of asana, of postures. I always tell you that discomfort isn't good, yet sometimes it needs that little bit of discomfort to get to a point of extending yourself. So I see discomfort of just about okay, but when we're moving towards a stronger discomfort or towards pain, that's when we really need to pull back. So yes, take discomfort as your teacher in the practice today, but make sure that it never goes to that deeper extent. So let's be guided by what we can feel, as always, and really making this practice today about self-care. So we will begin in that seated position or continue in it. And I would love you, if possible, now to close your eyes. Once you've closed your eyes, begin to notice a little bit more of what is going on for you this morning. What is it that you are lacking in your self-care? And you might admit to yourself that it is a lack of physical movement or physical strength or flexibility or whatever might come up. Or you might not need that at all. Maybe you just need to stop and be with yourself for a bit. Maybe you need a few deeper breaths. Just noticing what is it that you need right now. To then allow and bring your attention to the breath. And noticing just simply the breath flowing in and out of the nose. I think we can all observe that. And some of us might be able to take this observation deeper. Feel free to explore the breath deeper than just the sensation as it comes through the nostrils. As you deepen your breath now, just keeping it flowing in and out of the nose, but randomly deepening your breathing. And as the breath is deepening, we will change that to a more energizing breathing technique. However, as I mentioned before, if the discomfort in this breathing technique is too great for you, just dial it back a little bit. What I would ask you to do is breathe into the belly, then breathe in further to your ribs and breathe up all the way, full yogi breath, and then pause at the end of the inhalation and very slowly breathing out again. And you might control that as belly comes in, ribs come in, chest comes in. Now let's breathe in again, fully, deeply, all the way up. Fill yourself up like a cup completely with air. Hold it in if you can, for as long as you can. And breathe out slowly and keep the control of the breath when you're exhaling. So that's an indication how long can you hold to still keep the control for your out breath. Now, if you like, you can extend that further and actually lock the air into the body. So activating Mahabandha, that is a lock that we apply all over. So to do this lock, you would draw the skin under the navel through to your tailbone. That's your root lock. You would then lift up even more, and you would even tuck the chin in towards the throat. Make sure that you're not rounding your back, so you're staying upright and the chin is into the throat. That's for holding your breath after the inhalation. Let's try that. Taking a deep breath in, filling all the way up. Then activating your root lock, your chin lock, pausing for as long as feels kind of comfortable. Then releasing the locks and breathing out gradually. I invite you to repeat that for 2 more breaths. So I'll leave you your own time. We've all got a different length of breathing going on, so please choose yours. Deep, full inhalation as you're filling up, applying the root lock, applying the chin lock, pausing for a while, and still controlling your out breath. After the 2 rounds, simply return to natural, quite full breathing. Notice if anything has shifted or changed for you. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. And from this place, if you're sitting in an easy pose as I am doing currently, please change the foot you have in front. Take a deep breath, stretch your arms all the way out and lift them up. And then let's drop the right hand down and go into a gentle side bend. Please don't pull and start to soften into the lower arm, yet still allowing it to support yourself. Lifting back up as you're breathing in, maybe your gaze, feeling into the neck for that. And then drop your left hand down, soften into the left arm and leaning gently across. So this might be a very soft movement for now, breathing in, lifting the arms upwards. And then same as we did on Monday, just wrapping your arms around and going into also a soft, gentle twist. On your in-breath, lifting the arms again. And then swapping sides as you wrap around to twist to the other side. Once more, take a deep breath in, lifting the arms upwards. Breath out, bring your hands behind, fingertips down, opening through the chest, maybe through the throat area, lifting through your front. And then come out of this position, placing the hands forward and just softening down. This is a nice way of warming up the spine into the different direction. Let's walk the hands across towards the right knee. Get some more space into the left-hand side and bending forward over the knee this time. Now place the right hand down by your side in line with the hips. And take a breath in to lift your left arm, returning to your side bend. And this time, if you like, you can go a little bit deeper. Try not to pull anywhere, just noticing what does your body allow you to. To release that, we'll roll the shoulder in. We're walking the hands across the center towards the left knee. And I invite you to release over this knee. To come into the side bend, place your left hand down in line with the pelvis and take a breath in to lift your right arm. Maybe this side bend is a fair bit deeper. Just noticing, where can you go? What's right for you? We're releasing this one as we did the other, just rolling softly in, and this time to come up into a sit. Let's bring the feet out and across, coming up onto the hands and the knees, and widening the knees out and touching your big toes together, and then stretching the hips back. If ever you have any problems with any of these postures, movements, be that anywhere in your body, adapt them. Maybe come back to a previous one if necessary. As you settle yourself in, maybe you can release all the way down with the forehead to the floor. Maybe you're using a block to do so. Or your hands. Allowing now another full deep breath where you're thinking of drawing air in without the hold though, and controlling the out breath where you might think about your hips releasing. Then extend your arms actively towards the front of the mat. On your in-breath, come up onto your hands and your knees. Separate your feet, bring your knees underneath your hips. Taking a breath in, so to soften elbows, lifting tail and gaze. On your out breath, rounding into the back. Inhaling, soft elbows, lifting tail and gaze. Exhaling, rounding into the cat. Repeat that one more time. Inhaling, looking up, opening your front body. And on the exhalation, rounding, and hold yourself rounded. Tuck the toes under, lifting the knees off the mat, and then you might lengthen your spine out again as you land in a downward facing dog. As usual, please feel free to move the down dog, walk it out, swing your hips, whatever else there might be to do for you to explore your body and to bring in further movement. Asking you to then walk the feet forward to the top end of the mat, where we come up for a half lift on the in-breath, lengthening forward. And on the out breath, folding again. If your hands or arms are too short to touch to the floor, please reach for some support here and maybe walking out the feet in this position too. If it is available to you, then make sure that the feet are aligned, outer edges parallel, and fold all the way down. Relax the head, relax the shoulders, but keep your knees in a little bend unless you're extremely mobile. Placing your belly over the thighs so there's nice support and allowing you to fold, kind of fall forward. The weight sits slightly forward within your feet as well as you're allowing the length and the release of gravity pulling on your head, on your spine. You might then freestyle, move the head, give that a little shake carefully, releasing through the neck. And then from there, switching your pelvic floor muscles on, exhale and take your time, rolling up slowly, allowing the body, the blood pressure to follow along as you're coming up. Once you are standing, lift the shoulders, slowly bring them down, turn the palms of the hands forward and steady your stance. Your stance now a little bit closer. If you prefer, you can even touch the feet together. That's entirely up to you. Let's take a deep breath in, reaching the arms out and up. And you might choose Charlie's Angels mudra, interlacing the fingers and touching the index finger together. Stand up firm. Press down into the feet. Switch your glutes on and stretch up right towards the ceiling. And on your next exhalation, bend a little bit to the right. Lift yourself back up, inhaling. And bend a little bit to the left, exhaling. Inhale, come back into center. And as you're breathing out, release the arms for now. Make sure that you've got space around left and right side and begin to swing your arms. And there's an option, of course, to lift the opposite heel. If this doesn't feel right, you can lift the toes instead. But then you would turn towards that side. Let your arms flop around, getting movement into the spine. And if you like, you can come a little bit higher, give yourself a good pat onto the shoulder. That's also a variation of self-acknowledgement. And maybe if you put it this way, a little clap onto the shoulder. Well done for showing up for yourself. And if you want to take this further, let your arms come all the way out. And maybe even turning right behind you. And then let your arms come down, but don't force them to stop. They will stop after a while, and so might your feet. And your stance might be completely different now, which is perfectly fine. Close the eyes for a moment. You might even stay standing like this and just feeling, and you might notice there's a bit more energy already in your body. Maybe a sensation of a tingling in the fingers. And as you breathe in again, let's lift the arms out and up once more. As you come back to Charlie's Angels mudra, changing the interlace. Align your feet again so they're parallel. Press down into the feet, activate your legs, activate the buttocks muscles, stretch up towards the ceiling. And as you're breathing out, bending over to the right-hand side, we might stay here for a moment. If you like, you can extend this side bend, but careful. Just notice, what do you need from a side bend today? Lifting back up to center. And then changing sides as you come across. Take a breath in, lifting up from here. On your elbows, circle the arms around, place them into your lower back. I usually soften my knees, then begin to squeeze the buttocks, extending through the center of the chest, and if you like, lightly lifting the chin up and coming into a fairly supported back bend. Make sure that you're not leaning into the hands, they're actually supporting the lower back with the glutes on and getting a sense of lifting through the heart space. Then take yourself back to stand. Release the arms, opening the palms of the hands to the front again. Your stance could stay at hip distance, or you could bring your legs together if you like. Lifting the arms forward, maybe even up. Now please listen into shoulders and upper back. As we breathe out, we're coming into chair pose. Let's bend the knees and the hips. You could lower the arms here at any stage. If you can, hold them around the ears, maybe even touch the palms. If you need more gentleness there to support you, you might turn the palms of the hands upwards. Engaging again your lower abdominals to support your stance, to support your lower back. Keep your gaze forward as you're breathing in. On your out breath now, twisting your chair towards the right hand side. I will invite you, as you're twisting now towards the right hand side, to place your left elbow down onto your left thigh. To place the right hand into the side of the waist, and to slide the forearm now onto the thigh. And to step from here or slide the right foot back. You might turn the toes outwards, you might start to open through the shoulder. So we've transitioned from here into a side angle pose. This side angle pose is still supported. If you prefer an unsupported version, point your fingertips down and let your arm be on the inside of your knee. If you still want more, you could lift the right arm up, maybe also lifting your gaze. Now, as you can feel as the posture unfolds, it does become stronger. If you feel you still want to do more, you could extend it. I suggest to bend the back knee, to swing your arm back and down in front of you. And as you're straightening the leg, the arm takes a circle and comes over the head. Now, if you then feel this is too strong, come to a previous variation of it. See if you can have a little chin tuck if you are looking up, or release your gaze to a different spot. Find strength in the back leg, as well as support with the knee stacked over the ankle joint. From there, lifting yourself all the way up and finding a warrior two as you relax your shoulders and bring your gaze forward over the front hand fingertips. Now we've got our warrior two. Let's exalt the warrior. Turn the palms of the hands upwards and lean it slightly backwards. You can change your gaze again. If looking upwards is fine for you, try and have that light chin tuck so the neck is more engaged. But the gaze could be even all the way back and down. Front knee stays in a bend. Let's take a big reach into the top hand fingertips. And then to release the pose, bend the back knee. Let your arm fall in, similar to what we did seated. And then take the hands to either side of your front foot. Lift the heel and step the foot forward. As we enter another standing forward bend. Please notice that there is variations. You don't have to touch the floor. Maybe you prefer to hold onto the opposite elbow here. Maybe you prefer something deeper. I encourage you to use your elbows this time to relax the head down and potentially even sway a little. So noticing, does your body need the movement? Does it need the lengthening? What is it that you are working with right now? Then drop the hands towards the ground. Engage again into your core using a long, slow out breath to rise up into standing. Your choice as you're facing the front of the mat again to either align the feet parallel or to touch them together. Returning into the chair, lifting the arms, maybe forward, maybe up. On your out breath, return into chair pose. So there's a bend in your knees, there's a bend in your hips, your lower abs are switching on, supporting the whole pelvic region, your lower back, and your arms are well in alignment with what your upper body and shoulders need today. Steady your gaze. As you next breathe in, And on the out breath now, twisting the body gently towards the left this time. As you're twisting the body to the left, your arm doesn't need to be anywhere quite yet. We will release this posture by placing the right elbow down onto the thigh. Maybe the left hand comes into the side of the waist. And it could feel more supported to bring the forearm down onto the right thigh. Sliding or stepping your left foot back. Turn the toes outwards so there's room in your pelvis. And start to roll the shoulder back. Now we're approaching a supported side angle pose on this side. If you don't need the support, extend your arm and keep your arm on the inside of your knee. So we want that knee to remain in alignment with the toes. If you want to extend further, the left arm might extend towards the ceiling. Now make sure that you're not reaching for the floor, that you're still keeping length and strength in the sides of your waist. If you feel you want to extend the side angle, bend your knees, swing your arm down all the way in front of you, and maybe as you straighten the leg, the arm extends over the head. There's still time to adjust to come back to any previous version if you need to. Finding this extension basically from the outer edge of your back foot right to the fingertips if you're in the full expression of the pose. From there, push down into the leg, lift yourself up and settle into your warrior two. Let the shoulders soften, but keep the strength in the arms as well as the strength in your stance. It's actually more or less the same stance that we had before, only that the sides of the waist now giving a break. To exalt this warrior, turn the palms of the hands upwards. Take a breath and lift your arm. The foundation here is still not changing, but your gaze point might. You can look up into the hand, but you might have a little chin tuck there. Or you could turn the gaze sideways or even down towards the back foot. Let's use the next in-breath to stretch up that little bit deeper into the fingertips above you. And we're releasing that by bending the back knee, rolling the arm inwards, and placing the hands to either side of front foot, lifting the heel of the back foot. Step the foot to the front of the mat. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine forward. And folding down as you're breathing out. Stay here inhaling. And again, use your lower abdominals to support and curl up on your out breath. Lift the shoulders again. Bring them back and down. Maybe have a little movement. Now we'll approach our next set of postures from a balance. If your balance is off today, you know what to do. You can always tap a big toe behind if that helps. Now let's start with the first one. Take a breath in, lift your arms and your right knee. And as you're breathing out, give the knee a hug in and up towards the chest. Just simply standing here. See if you can stand up nice and tall with that. And even if you're only lifting the knee, that's perfectly fine. Keep your gaze steady. Begin to actively flex the foot now. We will change this pose. As you take a breath in, lifting the arms again. And then maybe your hands are coming to the heart space. Maybe your arms staying extended as we are approaching a warrior three. See if you can hold the warrior three. Hips facing to the ground, toes pointing to the ground, so's your gaze. Let's point the back toes, but only step the foot down a little bit out to the side and about 1 meter back, so the step isn't too large. Place your hands now onto the pelvis. So we want the pelvis to stay in balance, to face forward. If you like, your hands can be here in the sides of the waist. If your shoulders are happy with that, you can take a hold of the opposite elbow. Or some of you might want to have a reverse prayer. Once you've found your position, let's gently open through the chest on the in-breath. And standing firmly on both feet, start to fold, but only come halfway forward at first. Lengthen also through your neck so your gaze is down, similar back to the warrior three. And from there, could you then release deeper, nose towards the knee. Keep your shoulders back, the chest slightly open as you come further forward with each out breath. Now I invite you to stay there for a little bit. If it makes you feel uncomfortable not to use your hands, you can always release the hands and place them, for example, onto the shin or maybe blocks on either side of your leg or even in front of you. Staying for 2 more breaths. Finding the balance now, weight bearing in both of your feet. I will invite you to stay here for a bit longer, but to release the arms, to bring a bend into the front knee, to lengthen the spine forward again. Then potentially straightening the leg out, revolve triangle. If that feels right, take the opposite hand to the outside of the leg and place the other hand into the side of the waist. Solid stand here. And then starting to peel your left shoulder back. If this feels right, you can extend the left arm upwards. Don't force yourself just because there is another option or because you have a particular asana posture in your mind. Just listen in, take good care of yourself. How is your breath in this pose? I know it will be restricted, but is it still flowing? And we will release that from here. As you bend your knee, bring the hands down, bring both of your knees down, maybe widen the knees out and return into your wide-legged child's pose. And you might have a little movement here and there going into your sides. Now, as we're so nice and close towards the floor, let's slide forward on the mat and come down onto the front of the body. Resting the whole upper body down, but your hands will stay nice and close underneath the shoulders. Feet are flat down onto the ground. And as you take your next breath in, gently push down into the hands, lifting the upper body for a cobra. Extending down into the legs, so maybe the knees are coming off the floor. Buttocks muscles lightly switched on too. On your out breath, release the forehead down. On your in breath, lift your right leg this time. Try and keep your hip bones on the floor. Stretch out down into your toes. And then release it. Left leg lifting, next breath in. Upper body still staying down. Hips stay down, point out through the toes. And then release that. As your next breathe in, lift the upper body and just the right leg. Out breath, release it. We'll repeat that with the left leg. Inhale, lift the upper body, left leg comes up. Breath out and release it. We're only lifting the upper body. If your back allows you, you could come that little bit higher, still supporting with your base, your legs, buttocks, core, and then releasing down again. Maybe lifting both legs. And then releasing again. Now, if it feels right, lift the upper body and both legs. Hands, mine are just there for decoration, really. They're only touching the floor very lightly. Keeping the shoulders back, down, elbows by your sides. And then release it all together. Last back bend here on the floor. You might not use the hands all together, as you might take them off the ground, just like your head, chest, and your legs. Now get a sense of being strong here. A reach across the whole back, from top of the head to the toes. And then release it down again. Push yourself back up. Widen your knees out and sit back towards the heels again. Softening down into a wide-legged child's pose. Movement here is welcome if you choose to have any. Let's extend the arms again to the front of the mat. Take yourself up onto all fours. Bring your knees back underneath your hips and have a big elbow thrust round into the cat. Hold the cat, tuck the toes under and lift your knees off the ground as you enter a downward facing dog. From there, walking your feet to the top end of your mat. A breath in there for a half lift. Then bend your knees, activate your core, and exhale to roll up slowly. Lift the shoulders again, shrug them back and down as we enter our stance. Finding yourself grounded once more, strong in your foundation. And on the next in-breath, lift your arms and your left knee. And on your out-breath, give the knee a hug in if you can reach. Otherwise, a lift is fine too. Now, while you're standing, draw the shoulders into their sockets. There's a little bit of activation needed here. Keep your gaze steady. And begin now to flex the foot in the air, actively drawing the toes back. And as you take your next in-breath, hold that, lifting the arms out and up again. And your choice of keeping arms extended or bringing them to the chest as you bring your leg backwards, extending it out for warrior three. Now, wherever your arms are, bring your gaze down to the floor, hips, toes facing to the ground as you pause again in a warrior three. Point the toes and land the foot down out at hip distance as you return to stance. About 1 meter apart, and you can adjust just as I did then. Place your hands back onto the pelvis and let's notice how that is positioned. Oftentimes if the back foot's turned outwards, so does your pelvis turn outwards. So it's important to adjust the stance so you can actually get the pelvis healthily into this position. If you were working in the first round with your arms behind your back, you always have the same grip. In that case, change the grip. If you've worked with a variation that doesn't feel right for you, maybe choose a different one. On the in-breath, open through the center of the chest. And on your out-breath, firm stance in both feet. Come halfway down and pause there at first. Take the shoulders a little bit back. And then maybe going deeper as you bring your nose towards your knee. Reassess, how does this even feel for you? Do you feel supported enough? Do you need to release the hands, place them to your legs somewhere or onto a support or the floor? And can you keep the balance in the pelvis or has that gone out? What happens oftentimes is that we're kind of folding forward and the opposite hip starts coming up. That's either a sign that we're forcing too deep, or that we just simply need to lift weight out of the floor and bring the hip upwards like this by placing more weight into the foot. So finding your variation and stay for another breath. Then as you breathe in, bend into the front knee and slowly come up halfway again. You might there then straighten the leg out. For a revolve triangle, the opposite hand goes to the outside of the leg. The other hand might go into the side of the waist. And if that feels right, start to peel the right shoulder back. And only if that feels good, lifting the right arm. And you will notice the moment you're coming into this action, or once the arm is up there, is that actually for you? Where do you feel the gravity sitting in your body? Where is your center? Maybe exploring it this way and noticing, is your breath still flowing? Or has this posture gone out of shape? We will release that again. Let your hands come down, bring your knees down all the way behind you, and extend yourself once more back into an extended child's pose. Deep breath in and out. Now on your next inhalation, coming back up onto all fours, and once more bring your knees underneath the hips. I will ask you from here to keep the knee down, but extend your right leg and maybe lift the right arm towards the ceiling. If any of you feel you need extra strength, you can extend the lower leg to make it a full side plank. Please do be reminded that these are only options. And we will release that by bending the knee, swing your arm down, place the knee down onto the mat. And we'll do the same to the other side as we're extending the left leg out, lower the heel to the floor, take a breath and lift your left arm. Same here, you can stay with the knee on the ground or extend both legs for side plank pose. To release it, swing your arm down, bring your knees down onto the mat, and maybe a tad bit wider than hip distance, walking the hands up your thighs as you come to stand, prepared for a gentle back bend or a strong one if you choose to. To begin, place the hands into the lower back for camel. Start to squeeze your buttocks and think about lifting through the heart space or an extension here of the front body. It's perfectly fine to keep the gaze forward, but you might lift the chin up and guide the head backwards. If any of you feel you would like to extend further, maybe bring your hands down to your heels. Allowing yourself to be here. One last breath. And then coming out of the pose as you entered it, making your way down into your child's pose. I would love you to switch from here into more comfortable mode. My suggestion is legs up the wall. If you don't have a wall, legs up a couch or a piece of furniture does the job. If you don't have anything near you that supports you, you might instead just pop something underneath the buttocks and extend your legs up. If you've got the option of a wall or something by your side, grab a cushion. That cushion might be nice underneath the head. Maybe have another cushion for underneath the buttocks or a block. Sit with the side of the hip towards the wall or whatever you're using. Then roll down onto your back and then swivel around so your legs are coming up. Now, if I do it like this, my buttocks is actually touching the wardrobe here. I then slide the cushion underneath the head and relax the arms out. Now, if I were practicing right now, I would swing a blanket over the feet, build myself a little cozy tent. It is up to you to be as comfortable as possible in this posture. If this pose doesn't suit you at all, you can instead lie down completely and just relaxing. But it's a very supported, gentle inversion, so it might work for you. Allowing the eyes to close. Maybe there's that last little wiggle through the toes. But then allowing the body to be still. To gain the benefit of elevated feet, draining lymph, blood, fluids down through the groins, back into the chest cavity. And either you can choose to just be there for now, allowing in your mind the breath to be the center point of attention, or you could choose to listen to a few more words about taking care of yourself. The Ayurvedic tradition of India teaches that the main reason we get sick can be reduced to a lazy or perverse mental attitude, which leads us to ignore the basic principles of good health. That can mean not only eating the wrong foods and ignoring the cycles of nature, but also failing to control our negative emotions. As we now know, thousands of years after the wisdom of Ayurveda was first gathered, the stress caused by anxiety, overwork, anger, and grief creates even more damage to the body than a poor or inappropriate diet. The Greek Christian mystics believe that our negative traits and emotions, which they call elementals, accumulate around us and reinforce themselves, gathering ever more energy in a negative way, in a kind of downward spiral. Yet even though we know better, we sometimes act as if we're not worthy of a truly healthful, supportive life. As if we don't deserve to be taken care of. The cure is simple. Pay attention to everything you do that has the potential to affect your health, from food to stress to every thought. When we have moved our bodies, it is oftentimes a very good opportunity to observe as we're more ready to be still and pay attention. Don't beat yourself up about choices you make or have made. Just simply bring some more awareness to them. I will invite you to come out of this pose, and please do so by taking your knees in towards the chest, feeling a gentle pressure down onto the abdomen. From there, roll over to whichever side is either possible or comfortable, and stay on your side for a moment, allowing the blood and lymph to level. If you have a chance from this side-lying position, just rolling yourself onto your mat. Maybe you've got the carpet underneath and it doesn't matter where you lie yourself down. If possible, extend the legs. If you've got your cushion to spare or a block, you might step the feet onto the ground and slide that right underneath. Now, if you're using a cushion, it doesn't really matter. You can fold it up and just place your buttocks down and extend the legs again, getting a light opening here into the hip flexor area. If you've got a block, do pay attention where it sits. It is either on the tailbone and leaves the other vertebrae free, or it is even below the tailbone, your choice. As you extend the legs, if that suits, you might also choose to extend the arms. Allowing 3 slow breaths in and out of your nose. And we will move from this, whenever you have finished them, to bring the arms back down by the sides, to step the feet again onto the floor, and to only lift the hips enough so you can remove the item underneath, and then lie yourself back down. I recommend to now enter a short Shavasana, as you allow the arms to open, the palms to face upwards. You might use your cushion again underneath the head. Maybe noticing that the head isn't tilting forward. Thin enough. And if you like, the legs can extend if that feels good in your back. And allow yourself to re-enter the state of stillness. Now the whole body is relaxing. The most balancing posture you can have. Hence why it is used for yoga nidra as well, for deep relaxation. So allowing yourself to lie, and to bring your awareness back to the breath. Eyes might be closed again. Please notice what is on your mind, if it is not the breath. Allow yourself to stay in this state of relaxation. If you can't sit up comfortably for several minutes, please do stay lying down. But if it is possible for you to sit up, I recommend to do so. Now, if you had a wall nearby, you might even lean your back against the wall. So finding a most comfortable seated position, if that is your choice, where the spine is upright, where there's little effort to keep it this way. So that might mean you're supporting yourself underneath or you're leaning against the wall. Keep yourself warm as well. I would love to finish the class with a meditation around the mudra that kind of completes our practice today. What it is Angushta mudra. I will tell you a little bit more about it in a moment. How to do this is to touch your thumbs together and to allow the other fingers to gently curl into the palm of the hand. But rather than placing that down in front of the chest, place it here in front of the solar plexus. So the shoulders can relax, the elbows can relax, and your thumbs are gently pressing against each other. If ever this becomes highly uncomfortable for you to hold, you can let it sink into the lap, but preferably holding it there. Closing the eyes when you feel ready or centering your gaze. This is to cultivate the ability to listen inwards. As you hold Angushta Mudra, take a few breaths and notice feelings, sensations from this hand position. Maybe you can feel your breath being directed into the neck area and your throat. Maybe it instills a sense of spaciousness there. Spaciousness might from there expand to the whole area there. Which might cause that you can hear your inner voice more clearly. Allowing its messages to guide your life journey. These messages may be received as words, images, symbols, intuition, or subtle feelings. In order to cultivate inner listening, take several breaths to bring to mind an issue calling for guidance in your life at this time. Take some time to attune to your inner voice, listening to the messages you receive, inviting clarity for the issue you are exploring. As this guidance is received, envision how it might be integrated into all dimensions of your life journey. See yourself making the changes you need to honor the guidance you have received, allowing it to be manifest as a lived reality. And if you like, repeating to yourself, aloud or silently. Listening to the voice of my inner being, I receive clear guidance for my life journey. Listening to the voice of my inner being, I receive clear guidance for my life journey. listening to the voice of my inner being. I receive clear guidance for my life journey. Now let your hands relax into your lap. Take a few more breaths to integrate the wisdom you have received. You might from here transition straight away into hands touching in front of the chest. And from that sense of inner knowing, we're extending to each other. Namaste.